Hey, I'm Heidi Rue with partiesforpennies.com, and this is our first ever video tutorial. Now, what I'm going to be showing you how to do is yarn lanterns. Yarn lanterns are just a great little party decor. They're super cheap to do. They can be a little difficult, but they will turn any party, whether it's outdoors or indoors, from your plain Jane parties to JWoww. So here's how you do it, and I've got a really cool tip that is going to make it a whole lot messier for you, a whole lot less messier for you. That's the goal, unless you want it messier. And it's going to be a whole lot easier for you. And I just found it through doing these a lot of times, some trial and error. So here's what you need to collect right now. First of all, you need to get a whole bunch of balloons. It's just little balloons. I already blew one up. You can do any size that you would like. And then you need to get some really hot water. Also, you need to have half a cup of cornstarch. And then you need to get 4 ounces of glue, like regular Elmer's glue. This is also equals a half a cup too, so if that helps to measure it out. Then what you'll need to get some yarn. You can do any color yarn that you would like. I've even done some brown yarn before, so it ends up making the yarn lanterns look more like the vines that are kind of twisted together. Really cool. And for my special trick, you need a really big needle. This one is not that sharp, so that's good for me because I'm a little clumsy. So you need a really big needle. And then you also need like a little carton. This is a old half and half carton because we drink a lot of coffee. And so you need something like that. You can also do a paper cup, or I've done like a regular milk carton, like a, cardboard milk carton. So that's what you need for that tip. And then you need something to mix it with. And then, just a couple utensils, some little mixing utensils. All right, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take the cornstarch and we're going to kind of dump it in here. And then you're going to take your 1/4 cup of water and you're just going to mix it in there. And then make sure that all the cornstarch is really dissolved very well. And what the cornstarch does is it really thickens up the glue, so that way your yarn lantern will be really sturdy. And then what you're going to do, once you have the cornstarch all mixed up, you're going to add your glue, the half a cup or 4 ounces of glue. And of course, if you're making multiple yarn lanterns at a time, I can usually get maybe 1.5, sometimes 2, with my little special trick out of this. So if you're wanting to make more yarn lanterns, of course you can double or triple the recipe. And you're just going to add the glue, and then you're just going to stir it in with that cornstarch mixture. Now the tablecloth that I'm doing it on is one of those like vinyl tablecloths, which actually would be great to be able to do this project on because it does get a little messy. Okay, then you're going to take your little cardboard box and you're going to take your needle, thread the yarn through the needle, and then what you're going to do is on the very bottom of the cardboard box, you're just going to stick the needle through to where you can see it coming through on the bottom. And then you're going to stick it through the other side and kind of try and get as low as possible. Whoops. Okay. And then once you have your yarn through there, what you're going to do is you're going to pour your glue mixture into your little box here. Now when I first started doing yarn lanterns, it was for our wedding that we threw in the backyard. We had a reception, and so we did multiple yarn lanterns for it. So I had an army of 3 of my girlfriends all help me. We watched The Bachelorette while we did this. It was a crazy mess. We had glue all over us. We didn't care. We were watching The Bachelorette, so it didn't really matter, and having girl time. But it was crazy messy, and I so wish that I had discovered this tip before that. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to take your end of your yarn that's through the container, and you're just going to tie it on the top of the balloon. But make sure that you leave kind of a good amount at the top because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to hang that up to dry. You've threaded the yarn through there. It soaks the yarn in the glue mixture and takes off all that excess, so you don't have to worry about so much of the mess. Then what you do, and it keeps the yarn from being tangled, so you can just pull it right through. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to pull it through, and you're just going to start wrapping the balloon. So you're just going to start wrapping it. Now this is the point that you kind of have to get a couple through to make sure that it's really tight. And you're going to start wrapping it around, and you just have to hold the balloon so that you make sure that the yarn is really taut around the, taut is such a funny word, around the balloon. So then once you have your balloon completely wrapped, and do as much as you can, because it really looks really cool once you do as much as you can of the yarn. Once you have that done, you're just going to take your scissors and you're just going to cut it and then wrap it around the top. And then what you need to do is you need to hang it somewhere. I mean, I have a really cool scientific method of hanging the balloons. I just take 2 chairs from our dining room table and put a string across it and then just line up my balloons to dry. My husband loves it, let me tell you. And so then once you let it dry, it usually dries overnight. Once you let your balloon dry, this is what it's going to look like. Something like this. Now, the glue should be hard. It's really, really, yeah, it's just really, really tight. My spin instructor always tells us to get tight, get right. So get tight, get right with your yarn lanterns. Now what you're gonna do after it's totally finished is you're gonna pop the balloon. I probably should not have done this like on camera, but hey, we're not like the Today Show or anything, so whatever. All right, so now you're gonna pop the balloon. All right. And just shrivels up, gets all wrinkly and stuff, and then you're just gonna cut the balloon, the top part. Alright, so once you take that balloon out of there, you're left with your yarn lantern. Now, the first time that I used these were for our backyard wedding reception. And what we did is we had these white lights that were strung everywhere, so we just hung the lanterns right over the lights. It looked really, really good. So you could do that, or you could just hang them by yourself. You can also use all different colors of yarn. In fact, I used brown one time, and so it looked like kind of the vine balls, and I used it for a secret garden shower. Looked really, really awesome. Now, some of the yarn lanterns tutorials, they'll make it and then they'll spray paint the color. Now, you can do that, but I'm all about making things easier with less steps. So this is just how I, usually do it. So you can do it however you would like. Well, thank you so much for joining us for the first ever video tutorial for partiesforpennies.com. Check out more great tips. I post every single week on partiesforpennies.com, and we'll have more video tutorials coming your way. Partiesforpennies.com. See ya, party people.